Hey, Johnny.
Hey, how are you doing, my friend?
Very good. Just straight off the way in, lots to talk about.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we're here. It's here.
Amazing.
24 hours from now,
Cannot wait.
it's just about going to be going on.
First thing I want to say, so I'm in London, you're in the States. The fight week, normally, I love it. I watch all the events and I look for signs and I change my bets and I look at the odds. This week, I think fight week's been a mockery. I think we've had a public workout when they didn't work out at all. We had a press conference when they didn't say anything to the press. And we had a weigh-in where they've weighed in fully clothed and we've learned nothing.
Right.
Now, I think there's some things we have learned, but as fight weeks go, I think boxing needs a reset and to get back to actually doing what they're meant to do.
Oh, yeah, I agree. This was it was just very strange the way it went. The only thing that stood out at all was, I guess, was the stare down, and it was a stare down. All it was a stare down. But everything else, you're exactly right. A public workout. Without a workout. I mean, that's like ordering a Big Mac with nothing in between the bread.
No good. So what? Let's get into that. That stare down last night. So I'm just going to say what I thought. So if I was a Fury backer, that was the first time I thought, good, my man's here to fight. All week I'm like, what's he doing? Why is he not saying anything? Last night I did think this stare down's kind of fun, and I hated his behavior, but if I was backing him, I kind of liked the fact that he looked like he was here to fight. What did you make of it?
The stare down? I thought, like, I was looking at it. Fury obviously was serious about it. I was kind of like looking, to see who was going to break first and what I saw. And Fury, it seemed that. So I was looking at it kind of like from that angle, and. I understand what you're saying, though. Like we got to fight here.
Yeah.
Kind of like so I was just kind of looking at the demeanor and see what was going to happen, because in my head, it was almost like a fight. Like you're looking at the stare down, going, how long is it going to? Because when we started seeing it was going longer, it's like, okay, this is going to be a battle of wills. Who's going to break it? How long are they going to let it go? They can't stare. Because, two guys can stare at each other, like how long?
So,
and so from my observation of the stare down, I don't think it meant much, but I do think that if you want to call a winner to the stare down, I'd have to say Alexander Usyk won the stare down.
Yeah.
If there was a winner in a stare down.
I don't think it matters. Like Usyk's
not at all. Not at all. It's just,
with the beauty. Yeah, and Usyk is just so good at not caring about anything that goes on in that thing.
Anything.
But I did think I'm going to try and find the odds of what odds would get that the stare down lasts longer than the fight. So we'll come back. We'll come back to that at the end. But
I got to say, I got to give credit to Usyk because I think anybody that could look at Tyson Fury's face for 10 minutes deserves a heck of a lot of credit.
Johnny, I'm not one that comments on another man's looks, but I do find it very strange that Tyson Fury calls Usyk ugly. I think that's a pretty...
Well, that's exactly why I said it, because he's always calling him ugly. I was going to mention that. He always calls Usyk ugly, you ugly little rabbit. And I'm saying, like, well, he's not a matinee idol type. He's not a matinee idol looks. And so, I'm thinking for Usyk to be able to look in that face for 10 minutes, hey, bravo, my friend. That's pretty good. But but Fury has said a lot of derogatory things about Usyk's appearance and looks and his teeth, and I don't like that type of. I think you could build up a fight without promotional insults like that.
So, for instance, like. On the undercard, you got Dave Allen and what's his name? Fisher? I forget his name.
Johnny Fisher.
Yeah, and they're completely like Dave Allen literally said, "If my son is half the man that he is, I'll be proud." And I'm like, what a nice thing for a boxer to say about another boxer. I mean, Dave Allen is far more of a role model than Tyson Fury is, but obviously the media would not let you know that, and they get.
I agree 100%, and I don't necessarily think that having these boxers stage these, because they do it with every fight. They stage like they hate each other, they hate each other, they hate each other. Then the fight happens, and at the end of the fight, and everybody, the fans, everybody always thinks it's real. And then at the end of the fight, they say, nah, it's just build up. We really like each other. You know, like look at Arturo Gatti and Mickey Ward, how close they became, for God's sake.
Yeah, right.
So it's like, you know, you see that. It's like, how many times are people, the public, and even ourselves, how many times are we going to buy into what is clearly promotion to build up the fight? They do it all the time.
Okay, so
respect each other.
So if we close our eyes to that, one thing we can't close our eyes to is the 6-inch beard that Tyson Fury's sporting. Now, as far as I'm concerned, that's illegal. Do you have a better view on that?
Yeah, no, it is. According to the boxing rules that I've always known, I mean, maybe I don't think they've changed. According to the boxing rules I've always known, the beard is illegal.
So the last I heard is I don't think
you have to be able to see the jawline.
Yeah.
So well, it's not so much about the padding, but that's the way I've always known it to be.
It's not going to protect from the. It's not going to protect from a heavyweight punch, but it's the accuracy of the target to know that you're hitting on the guy's chin or not.
Yeah. Also, when it's that big, it might. I don't know enough about how that would affect the effect of the punch, but a beard like he grew it affects, if Usyk's fighting, it'll affect where Tyson's chin is located.
That's the thing.
It's totally hidden. You need to be able to at least see the chin, because let's face it, that's an important target. It's like shooting an arrow and the thing doesn't have a bullseye on it, you know?
Exactly. That's exactly right. And in the sport, it's a half an inch can make a huge difference. He hit him on the button. If you can't see where the button is, there's a problem there. So now, last I've heard, Usyk's camp.
It's not, and it isn't legal according to the rules.
Yeah,
as I've always known them.
So Usyk's camp, last I saw on Twitter, is Usyk's camp are saying he needs to shave it. We're 24 hours away. There's no sign that he's shaved it. So I'm wondering what's happening there. Like, I don't know.
I don't know what's going to happen there. I'll tell you, they've already given every obstacle in the world they've thrown in front of Usyk, and if they allow Fury to have this beard, it just makes them look. It makes Turkey, the great Turkey, but it makes him look really, really bad because he's already publicly sided with him. He's allowing a beard that, I mean, the guy looks like Mr. French from Family Affair, the old show. I mean, he's got this huge, like Santa Claus type beard. So the guy, and it was grown clearly for a reason. I'll tell you one thing, that if you look at it from the psychological standpoint, Fury grew that beard. That does not show a heck of a lot of confidence in his ability to take a punch. That shows him wanting to protect himself against Usyk's punch and wanting Usyk not to see the target. That's what it shows.
I mean,
to me, in my opinion,
there's a big mental health campaigners do talk about people that if you see your friend growing huge facial hair, check up on them. But anyway, that's too much. But what about the actual weight? So Tyson Fury weighs in at 281. Okay, now I think that's nonsense. I don't think he's I reckon he's wearing at least 10 pounds of clothing. I think he's 270 tops. I think the weigh-in now. What do we make of that?
I don't know. He's a guy. He's one of those guys that always tries to play mind games, and so it's really hard to tell, in my opinion, if that's the case or not. I think he's very nervous about this fight, and I think he wants any edge he could get, any sense of surprise, anything he could do. You know what I mean? To kind of surprise Usyk, because Usyk, it's amazing. He's unflappable. He just doesn't. Nothing bothers him with the fight. So I think Fury is trying to get a rise out of, or surprise him with something, because I do think Fury is nervous about it. So I'm thinking about what you just said, and he may be coming in lighter and thinking it's going to throw Usyk off, because he weighed in at 281, and he may, but it does. But all of these things you're mentioning, we only mentioned a couple right now, but there's more. They're all showing concern on the part of Tyson Fury.
Yeah,
I mean, they're showing I would say not a lack of confidence, but a sense of worry that he's going to lose.
So you wrote a brilliant update this morning in the fight week update, and so that in May, I thought what I didn't like in Fury was the weight chase. He came in at 262 last time, like super light for him, and everyone's like he's in the best shape of his life, and I was like, well, I don't like seeing a fighter in their late 30s have a drastic weight change. I think what you were alluding to very clearly, in fact, in this morning's update was a personality change so drastic in the build up to it is never a good sign in a fight week.
Right. Oh, yeah. What it is I've seen. If we look at, you could go back many years for this. I would say 15 or 20 years when it became, when it really became, weigh-ins became like entertainment rather than just formalities.
Yeah.
The weigh-ins used to be you just go in, get weighed. It was a boring thing. Nobody cared to see it, and it was done. And now it's like, it's like entertainment. It's like the whole sense of the weigh-in going in the way that it did, this weigh-in going in the way that it did. I just think it's like Fury probably is trying to play some kind of a mind game.
Yeah.
I really just do believe there's some kind of a mind game. And and also there could have been weights in his pockets and stuff, like we discussed that. But in regards to what you just asked, the whole point is that I've seen throughout history fighters, when they're worried about their opposition, and I mean great fighters, when they're worried about their opposition, when it comes time, now that these things are entertainment, that people are watching them, the weigh-ins, the press conference, there's all this stuff now. When these great fighters are worried about their opposition, they don't use their usual, because they usually follow the same pattern of promoting the fights. They always have that same, I'm going to kill him, they'll get this, and they build it up and they do all the same. But when a fighter is concerned, he will drastically change. And the one that comes to mind, right, there's many, and I could go on. I don't want to waste time on just this, but the one I think of just often is Bernard Hopkins, did a silent routine. And everybody's like, what's up with Bernard Hopkins? He must be very serious about this fight. I think it was against Chad Dawson. And he lost the fight. And but it was a silent routine. He wasn't saying anything.
Yeah.
Sometimes I wonder, is it because the fighter does not want to brag too much?
Yeah.
Have it played back to him, like and lose. Sometimes I just think that they're trying to do something different to make the opponent. So psychologically speaking about that, I think what they're trying to do is what Fury's trying to do and what Hopkins tried to do and all those many fighters in the past. I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to they're trying to make the opponent think that this change in their personality and this change in their presentation and the way they're approaching that fight is going to translate into a whole different person in that ring. Yeah. And I have never seen it happen yet.
So I think that's spot on. And I think it's not just trying to convince the opponent. I think it's trying to convince themselves. And a more recent example, I'll give you Deontay Wilder. I don't know which fight against Fury it was, but he suddenly became this super aggressive character, this sort of caricature of himself. And then more recently, when he lost to Zhang a couple of months ago, he was suddenly nice and chill. He was all calm. And everyone's like, oh, this calm Deontay Wilder. So that's no good for him. He doesn't want to be calm. And but what the media are doing about Fury now is they're saying, Look how dialed in he is. Look how focused he is. He's up for this. And I'm like, so you're telling me for 34 fights before this, he's not been up for it because he's totally different for the rest of his career?
How could he not be up? First of all, I think he is in the best shape of his life and fought the best fight he ever fought in the first fight with Usyk.
Couldn't agree
I don't
more.
think you can top it.
No.
And he lost that fight, in my eyes, 116-111.
Yeah.
And in the eyes of a lot of people.
Yeah.
That was the score. So Fury, to me, is like, that's how I viewed it.
Yeah.
You know, that fight. So
okay, so
but the media buildup, I just want to say this has been, I think it's been honestly disgraceful. I think it's been incredibly disrespectful.
Yeah.
To an all-time great like Alexander Usyk, who moved up against all odds from cruiserweight, came to heavyweight, wiped the division out, including Fury, became the undisputed champion. And everybody in boxing and everybody everywhere is basically saying, you know, they're talking about it like this is Fury's fight to lose. No, it isn't.
Yeah.
No, it isn't. It's a fight. I mean, it's not Fury's to lose. It's a fight that Alexander Usyk beat him to. It's the disrespect to what Alexander Usyk actually is in boxing.
Yeah.
Actually is hurtful to me. And it doesn't seem to bother him, but I just think it's disrespectful.
I know.
And I don't understand it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't understand it, but I cannot believe.
Johnny,
and you know, you look at it, the odds have changed. The odds were changing, you know.
I think this is just a huge case of opinions in the real world and opinions in the promotional world. And they are so different now. So I've seen some tweets today even where people are just like so absolutely echoing what you've said, basically, and just saying it's completely one-sided. It's completely offensive. Every single person I speak to in real life feels strongly about this positive narrative about Usyk and all these things, that not the man and the fighter. And it's only when you turn on your media channel and you're told about this promotion of Fury, you know, nearly had it. I heard someone say today, Fury nearly had him out of there in the 6th round. I was like, he hit him with a good shot in a boxing match. Usyk took it, wobbled, grouped, came back. He didn't nearly have him out of there in the 6th round. And you hear all Fury had to do. You know, you've talked about this brilliantly before about all he had to do is keep on the gas.
On the gas.
Come on, he's got no gas. And
the car's gonna, you can press the pedal all you want. If there's no gas in the car, it ain't gonna run.
Yeah.
You know?
So now, okay. So this is good. I want to get into my ultimate, like, how I feel it's going to go. But before that, and I don't want to dwell on this because it's depressing, but you got some news about the officials.
Well, yeah. Well, there was a guy named Barboza. I think it's Fernando Barboza, and he called in sick. And he was replaced by Steve Weisfeld. Okay. Steve Weisfeld is a very experienced,
is this a judge? Okay.
Yeah, as a judge. And he's a very well-known, experienced judge. And I just want to say one thing about this. I had a conversation about 12 or 13 years ago with one of the few boxing people I've actually met, Harold Letterman, who was the official HBO scorer for years.
Yeah.
And one of the things and he was a wonderful person.
Was he?
And one of the things I asked him was talking about the things. I just asked him, I said, you know, it just seems like boxing has gotten, this is 12 years ago, 13 years ago, I said, it seems like boxing's gotten so corrupt and all this stuff. And I said, and you know, it just seems like there's bad decisions and all this stuff. And I said, what do you think it is? I said, and then I offered this, and I feel naive after he answered me, because the answer is almost obvious in a way. But I said, do you think it's that there's too many? They bring in too many inexperienced judges or new judges, or judges that haven't been around at these fights? And he said, actually, no. He said it's the judges that have been around a long time and are experienced that are the ones that people need to worry about more.
Right.
Plus, in other words, what he was basically saying is, if you're a new guy that wants to become a referee or a judge, no, to become a judge in this case, you want to become a judge, and you know who to promote, who's promoting the event and all this stuff. If a fight is even arguably close, are you really you want a career? Are you really gonna go against a top promoter's fighter? Now that's if you're new. Okay. So what he's basically said, and he did actually say it in a roundabout way. He said they became longtime experienced judges for a reason.
Right.
And he never said, listen, he never said anything. This is just my take on what he said. He didn't come out and say anything, but I asked him specifically about corruption. Okay. He said they became experienced judges for a reason. And I took that to mean they played the game long enough, and so now that's why they've been around 20 years, 30 years, whatever. So bottom line, and also I'll be honest with you, Steve Weisfeld, this judge, I keep a list of judges that have had decisions that the entire world disagreed with.
Oh, right.
He is on that list, Steve.
Is he judging tomorrow?
Yeah, he's going to replace that guy Barboza.
Okay.
Barboza called in sick. Well, I don't think it's a good sign that the guy called in sick. Maybe it may be legitimate.
Yeah.
But I got to be honest with you. With everything going on, for a last minute sick call in, and to bring in an experienced judge who I've known has made some calls that a lot of people do are inaccurate, let's word it like that, is highly, it bugs me a little bit.
Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to speak about, which in terms of the judging, and I think this is a biggie, is the referee that they have.
Yeah.
Robert Ramirez, I think his name is. I think he's the referee. But he refereed the rematch, the Katie Taylor Chantel Cameron rematch.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay? And in round one, now think in terms of Katie Taylor's the A side. Even though Chantel Cameron has a name, Katie Taylor has been the A side for everybody. She's got she's ended up with a lot of gifts and in my opinion anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, so Katie Taylor's the A side. In that fight, in the first round, Chantel Cameron hits her really hard, right dead on with a jab. It's on YouTube. Anybody who is listening to this, watch it. Okay, that's what I would say. She hit her with a jab really hard. She knocked Katie Taylor down. Okay, the judge ruled it slip. Okay, now that was the first round. They didn't know how the fight was going to go. I did think Katie Taylor won that fight by a little bit. The second one, I didn't think she won the first, but the second one I thought she won by a little bit. But keep in mind, in the first round, this referee had no idea how that fight was going to go.
Yeah,
he immediately after a knockdown ruled it wasn't a knockdown. Now Cameron won the round 10-9, but not 10-8.
Right.
And it was in my eyes, it was a clear knockdown. In the eyes of most people, it was. So this is the referee now that sided with the A side in that fight, and he's coming in to be the referee for Fury Usyk. That worries me too. In addition to hiring an experienced guy like Steve Weisfeld, who most people would say, well, he's been around. There's a reason.
So that's fascinating. That's and the Harold Lederman stuff as well. Is he still around, Harold Lederman?
No, he's gone. But what a nice man.
So they used to put his scorecards up on the broadcast, didn't they? Like the Harold Lederman.
I don't think there's ever been a more honest scorer, less of a company man than him.
Wow.
Maybe, in all truth, maybe back then, being a company man wasn't as important as it is today.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely.
It was a different world, so maybe not. But he was the greatest judge I've ever seen. But he was an unofficial judge,
But that's so nice to know, because people watching this will remember Harold Lederman's. You could even bet on Harold Lederman's scorecard in the UK. You could bet on who's he going to have after 3 rounds. Yeah. And so people will definitely remember him. And I absolutely remember him. So did you hear about the referee? I don't know how conspiracy theory this is, but he's got a link to Bob Arum via, he's worked for ESPN or something. Do you know this one?
No.
Okay, so there's something else there. But so this is really terrifying. Do you think, how much of this news in terms of the officials in the UK, we've had a big wave of support in the betting for Fury. Do you think it's because there's a lot of talk about if it goes the distance, Usyk's not getting a decision? There's a lot of talk about these officials. The media is pushing the Fury narrative.
Are they pushing it?
Oh, like crazy talk. Are you seeing the same betting movements in the US?
The U.S.'s betting movements have been less than what I've observed in the UK.
Yeah.
But there was a little movement for Usyk came down a little bit to win, but it's kind of held steady in that capacity.
Yeah. Minus 140.
The what?
Minus 140.
Right now it's minus 138.
Same. We got the same.
That's what it is here too on Bet365. On the site I bet, I'm going to the casino to put this one in.
Okay.
But on the site that I bet here, which is an overseas site, he's minus 150, which was basically what he's been. So he's held kind of steady. The only thing that's changed has been the knockout odds.
Yes.
In which they've made the knockout odds, they've kind of gone back. They went down a bit.
Yeah.
But they're back where they were, which is plus 300.
But
they had gone down to plus 275, and now they've gone back to 300.
Yeah, so, we're the same.
I'm not exactly sure. But what was interesting to me is that Tyson Fury, while the odds haven't changed too much here, as far as winning and losing, the odds on the knockout on Tyson Fury have gone from what was plus 450 down to plus 300. They're both plus 300 here. So the odds on Fury by knockout have gotten much lower here. So they're favoring Fury by a knockout a lot here more. Yeah. Usyk by knockout has stayed the same.
Yeah, it's great. It's so interesting. I've got so a little bit. I know you don't like short prices, but I've backed. Tell me what you think about this one. I've backed minus 200, so 2-1 on 1.5 in decimal odds. Minus 200, Fury not to score a knockdown. I think if Fury wins, he could win. I don't see him knocking. I don't think he's a big puncher. I think Usyk's got an incredibly good chin. I don't see him knocking Usyk down. Minus 200. I don't mind that short price, but that's a side bet I've had.
My own feeling is personally, I think Usyk has been proven to have a great chin. I don't think Fury could land a better punch than he landed than that uppercut in the first fight.
Yeah,
and I think that's a good bet, a very good bet. And I'll tell you, that punch in the first fight really lifted Usyk up, shook him up. He didn't go anywhere, and that was Fury's Sunday punch. That was him like he hit with Dylan White. We talked about that before. But I see that extra weight. There's two sides of this. If there is extra weight, we still don't really know. Because they were dressed. He was dressed at the weigh-in. We don't know what he's going to weigh. If there is extra weight, he may think it'll give a little more. I shouldn't say he may think, but it's a lot of people think it gives more power to the punch. Extra weight also slows things down. So if a punch comes in with extra power a little bit slower, is it really that much harder than a punch that comes in with a little less power but faster?
Great point. Nice.
So that's what I wonder about that. And also, I think if Fury's counting on that, if he does, assuming he's coming in heavier, let's just assume that for this second. If he's coming in heavier, that punch that he's going to land is not going to be that much harder. That extra weight is not going to help the fight, but it is going to affect his entire rest of the fight.
Yeah. Well, we'll get to that.
Well,
So
I mean, assuming he's this weight. I don't believe he is. You don't believe he is, but if he is,
but I think even when he was 262 last time out, he still had issues with the gas tank. So he could come in at 220. There could still be issues with the gas tank. So so I think him coming in heavier, exactly what you say. He's never. I could be wrong here, but I'm going to say it anyway. I don't think he's ever scored a knockdown against a southpaw. Okay, I think that's true.
Yeah.
And I do not think he's going to start doing that against one of the best southpaws there's ever been.
Yeah.
Especially when he's coming off a defeat and he's 36 years old and he looks 42 years old. So I do not think he's scoring a knockdown against Alexander Usyk.
I believe I completely agree with you. And you had mentioned a bet earlier that you had thought about. But my own belief is it had triggered something in my mind that I don't believe that. I don't believe Fury will be able to. I think they're going to give Fury every benefit. I think they'll allow him to get hit 200 times in a row without stopping the fight. They're not going to make it. They're not going to call the fight. They're not going to say, okay, he's taking too much punishment. They're not going to do it if he's standing.
Yeah.
But if he, because we had talked, I think one of the things that you were looking at is Usyk scoring a knockdown was one of the things that I was thinking of.
Yeah.
I think I believe that is definitely going to happen. I shouldn't say definitely. There's nothing certain in the world, but I believe it's going to happen because the only way they're not going to stop it with Fury on his feet. They won't do it. They wouldn't dare go. It could be punch after punch after punch, and they're not going to stop it if he's on his feet. He's going to have to fall. Then they'll debate it in their head. I don't think this is. I can say this factually. This is the way I think it's going to go. I don't think they'll stop it with him on his feet. So I do think that that something else you had spoken about a possible knockdown there might like Usyk scoring a knockdown.
Yep.
Is also, as you had said, that's an interesting bet too.
So that was the 4-1 Usyk to win in 10.5 rounds by stoppage and scoring at least one knockdown at 4-1.
That's a fantastic. I think that is an absolutely fantastic bet. I think that's an absolutely fantastic bet because 10.5 rounds. We're going late in the fight. Fury, I don't know. We still don't really know his weight. It would have been nice to know it. But either way, I don't think he's going to have. I don't think he's going to. I think that's a great bet. I think he is going to go down, and I do think that he's going to. I don't think it's going to go past 10.5. Yeah. I just don't think he has that stamina anymore.
So in terms of
he's going to be competitive earlier. I don't think he's going to have the stamina later. If he's going to preserve his tank for later, he's making a mistake because I can't see. I can't see Tyson Fury winning this fight, David. Honestly, I can't see him winning this fight legitimately. I look at it. Boxing, I can't see him winning it. I can't see him winning it punching.
I know.
The only way, and I'm nervous about this, I could see him winning it. But I think it's going to have to be through one of a very, very controversial thing that's going to be talked about all over the place.
Well, you and I talked about it off the record earlier. It's either the officials that are going to help him on his way, or he's going to fight dirty. I'm worried that he's going to foul his way to victory and get away with it. I think that is a factor. The potential to foul.
One of the things I thought about, David, is I could see Fury. Look, this fight there's every reason for people to believe this fight is intended to go in Fury's direction, or they want it badly to go in Fury's direction. So if you look at it, one of the things I worry about is Fury landing a punch to Usyk's private parts.
Below the belt,
Okay?
yeah.
And the referee saying it was a legal punch.
Yeah.
I'm worried about that because so many people have in their head that Usyk has this problem with body shots that Fury could land a low blow clearly.
Yeah.
And the referee could say it's legal.
Yeah.
And Usyk might not be able to get up. That's one thing I worry about.
Yeah.
I worry about them taking points from Usyk.
Yeah.
You know, like for things that really they shouldn't be taking points for. I don't know. I can't think offhand of what. But maybe hitting after the bell or something like that.
Yeah.
And I also think that if Usyk gets Fury against the ropes and is hitting him and pounding him, as I said earlier, they're going to let him just keep hitting him and pounding him. They're not going to stop it. If Fury gets Usyk against the ropes and hits him 3 or 4 times in the head, referee's going, no.
Yeah, possible, yeah.
That's one of the things that I worry about.
Have you heard, I think John Fury's nowhere to be seen this week. He won't be in the corner, the dad?
Yeah. I have heard that. Honestly, I don't think it bothered. I don't think his father being there bothered Tyson Fury at all.
No.
I think this is part of it. His whole plan. I believe Tyson Fury's whole plan is I got to use everything here because this guy has my number. I think he knows he has his number. I'm not saying he knows he's going to lose, just that he has his number.
I think on the corner, the last defeat, I think, you talk about aging defeats. I think that was an incredibly aging defeat. Like, I think physically and mentally, as aging defeats go, that is the dictionary definition of one for Fury. Yeah, it was close. If you want to say it was close on the cards, but it was an aging defeat.
Yeah.
And I think there's potential that the going gets tough and his corner will pull him out because they want him to just have one last dance with AJ for 150 million.
That could very well be. And if the corner pulls him out too, it gives Fury a reason to say, I wanted to continue. I don't know what they did. I'm firing this guy. I'm firing this guy. I was winning that fight. And it doesn't matter if it was 8 rounds to 0.
And the dad's not there because he can't fire his dad. Fire the rest of them. So who knows?
That's a really good point. Yeah. Oh, that's a great point about that.
So let's see. It was like the first fight. The first fight, anything could happen through the boxing matchup. Now, the second fight, anything could happen for so many more reasons. Okay, so I just said that in terms of like, if anyone is getting old overnight, I think it's we see it so often. You see a guy in his late 30s put in a performance, and you just think the signs were there. Of course, he was ready to go. If anyone's getting old overnight, it's Tyson Fury on the 21st of December. Of course, he could win the fight, but I just think the signs are there that he could look old tomorrow.
Yeah, I have a feeling that rematches are not always carbon copies of the original fight. And as an example, I'm going to use Tyson Fury. Look at his first fight with Deontay Wilder and his second with Deontay Wilder. Okay, Deontay Wilder had the same. Look at the second, and then look at the third. They were all kind of different.
Yeah.
But when you look at his first fight with Deontay Wilder, he came up with a good game plan for the second one with Deontay Wilder, but they were completely different fights. Yeah. Completely different fights.
Yeah.
And the media has built up this whole thing about Fury being like the comeback king. He's the comeback king. He's the guy. Well, give him a rematch and his boxing IQ and all this. Okay.
Have you seen the way he beat John McDermott? Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The comeback king, in my opinion, the comebacks were. What were the rematches? What were the big things that he came back from? Yeah. He came back from victories and a fight that he almost won. He didn't come back from a fight he lost.
Yeah.
That first fight with Wilder, in all honesty, I thought Fury won.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when he was going into the second fight, he had every reason to be confident because he knew in his heart he won the first one.
Yeah.
And he came back in the second one. And what were they talking about? His rematches with Chisora? He literally almost shut Chisora out. So he won the rematch. So what? He's not the king of rematches. He lost this one.
This is
a real rematch.
Yeah. It's the laziest like stat or reference you can make. Like I heard someone today raving about his performance against Klitschko, and I was like, is that not like how? Is that 12 years ago? 9 years? How? It's so long ago. I don't even I can't even remember when that was. Like he had hair. He had like a full head of hair back. It's so irrelevant to this fight.
I remember the exact day it happened because I think Franklin Delano Roosevelt was giving a fireside chat. That's how long ago it was.
Right. I know you should remember it because you had a big bet that night. Okay.
Yeah, the whole narrative to this fight, I think, has been has really run amok. Yeah. I really believe I've never seen this type of disrespect towards a great champion, and I think the narrative has run amok. And the thing I hope so much is that people, anybody out there, if anybody's watching, I would just say, don't change your bet because of anything you've seen. Don't change your bet. Don't change your mind because of what you read. Don't change anything. No matter who you're picking. You might be right. Maybe it's Fury. Stick with your bet, but don't let what's going on change your mind because it's baloney.
Normally in fight weeks, you hear the media do their thing. They peddle all this stuff out. And you just go, okay, cool, that's part of the promotion. But for this fight, this week, it's the first time I've literally just sighed and just gone, oh, God, really? One after another coming on. It's so predictable. I can hear a mainstream journalist or podcast or someone who's got an agenda ask a question and you can predict what the answer is going to be before they even say it. And then now and then you hear a voice. Barry McGuigan today has been brilliant. He's been speaking on some mainstream channels and he's just literally cutting through the narrative saying, I don't think that's true. And you're like, wow, thankfully people are speaking the truth.
Yeah. And he's one of the rare ones. He's a rare one. These guys like the guy, there was one guy, I think his name is Johnny Fisher. No, not Johnny. I'm getting the name wrong because I'm thinking of a boxer. But it's a guy that was involved. He had picked. He's big in Johnny. What is his name? I don't remember his. Okay. Anyway, I'm not going to waste time thinking of his name. But the point was, guys out there would know who it is.
Yeah.
And he had picked Usyk to win, right?
Right.
And then he said, after seeing a locked-in Tyson Fury like this, and seeing him locked in, this is the way he should have been in the first fight. And seeing him like this, he said, I've changed my mind. I'm picking Tyson Fury. And I'm thinking, this is a guy that had picked, I wish I could remember his name, but this is a guy that had picked Usyk, and he switched over to Fury based on Fury being locked in. And Fury's being locked in is basically, truthfully, a performance.
Yeah.
It's basically like a movie. Okay, action. Yeah. Because Fury has admitted himself that when the camera rolls, he becomes the Gypsy King, and when the camera's off, he's Tyson Fury. Yeah. So I don't know why they're going so hard to promote Tyson Fury and push Tyson Fury. I don't know if they're trying to get the odds different. I don't know if maybe it's not doing as well as they thought, and they're trying to get more interest.
I think that's a very good point. I also think I don't know. So okay, look, we've done 45 minutes. I want to of course Fury could win this fight, right? But I want to get your final thoughts. I'm going to give my final thoughts. Do you want to go first or second, Johnny?
I'll go second, but let me just ask you one more quick thing. Just what are your thoughts on Turkey? Basically, right on Twitter, showing partiality towards Tyson Fury.
Well, so I think that Turkey chap he's doing some great things for boxing, no question. But I think he might not be that sophisticated in how he presents his opinions. I think he's he's a massive fan of boxing. You've talked about this as well. People who are fans of boxers rather than boxing and the difference that takes. I think this Turkey guy, for some reason, really likes Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury.
Yeah,
now,
I do too. Oh, absolutely.
And I think part of that is because they speak English, so he can be their buddies and they can fist bump and do selfies and have laugh together. He can't do that with Usyk. If Usyk spoke English, I reckon old Turkey would be a big fan of Usyk. But because he can't, he's basically paid these guys to be his friends. And I think he loves that. And I think that's why he's so pro these guys. Now, when he says, "Oh, we're winning the second fight, and we're going to do a trilogy," and Turkey's saying all this stuff in the cold light of day, he's not pretending to feel otherwise. I just think there's potentially some fanboy naivety there that I just think, do you realize what you're saying? Do you mean that? Is that really thing? So it could be one huge big conspiracy to get Fury the titles back, but I also think there's potentially it's just this character Turkey not really knowing how to communicate.
Yeah, one would have to question why. Well, I don't know how intelligent he is in person, obviously, but one would have to question why would he be so obvious in his partiality,
exactly,
and then do what everybody is expecting, which is a robbery. Why would he do that? Because if nothing else, I think he enjoys being the face of boxing.
Exactly.
And I think it's going to be a really bad look for him to do that and then rob Fury, but rob Usyk, excuse me. So, I was curious what you thought about that about him, because it was just we don't normally see that. It was openly rooting, but that's a really, really interesting thought.
How many times have we? So it's been 2 years since we've had big fights in Saudi. So like, how many times has there been an absolute stinker of a decision? Like, not that many.
No, they did pretty well, but I'll tell you just a couple that I thought. One is the second, and it's the guys he likes that it happens.
Yeah.
That's the issue.
Yeah.
Okay, so you got the second Joshua Usyk fight. Okay,
was that in Saudi?
Yeah. The Usyk Joshua rematch.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But if it was backed by Turkey.
Yeah.
And
okay.
Because sometimes he has the Riyadh season elsewhere.
Sure.
But the what do you call it? But it was Turkey's deal.
Sure. Yeah.
The judges in that fight got it right. This is the rematch now, Usyk and Joshua. They got it right. Usyk won. One judge gave that fight, and I told you he's a questionable judge. I'm not going to say his name, but he's questionable. He's been questionable, and he's a veteran, just like Harold Letterman said. He's been out a long time. But anyway, the point is, one judge had it 115 to 113 in AJ's favor. Now, that's impossible for anybody with a boxing mind to see. That's just not possible in the second fight. It was a wide victory for Usyk. That's one. Two, another one is the last. Let's just let everybody forget this because Usyk got the win. The last Usyk Fury fight. One judge had Fury winning by a point.
Yeah.
Well, I mean.
Yeah.
They've spun the narrative now that people think it was a close fight.
Yeah.
I just don't believe it was a close fight. And, those are, a couple that just jump off the top of my head.
I would add Beterbiev Bivol as well.
I was just going to go, yeah.
Yeah,
I was just going to go for that.
But they haven't been like absolute stinkers. Like, what did we get the other? You mentioned one. What was it? The Paro, the right guy won, but there was a Paro a couple of weeks ago got an absolute one of the worst cards ever against Richardson. What's his name? Hitchens.
Oh, Hutchins.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. What fight was it? It was just a
Liam Paro.
Yeah.
And he lost, but apparently there was a decision that was just. I haven't seen the fight yet, but apparently it was just an appalling decision.
Yeah. The whole thing is that everybody has said that. A lot of people have said that in regards to Saudi Arabia has had pretty decent results. That we got to keep in mind. They are comparing it to the other results.
Yeah,
so it's not on its own.
Yeah,
great results. It's in comparison. It bothers me that anybody could have had AJ winning that rematch, and that anybody could have had. And again, I want to tell you this: this guy that gave that fight to AJ in the rematch with Usyk, he scores a lot with Steve Weisfeld.
Okay.
And they've done a lot of matches together, and they're cut of the same cloth.
Right.
It worries me a bit. The whole thing about the scoring out there is just that I think we're comparing it in a different manner to some really, really, really bad scorecards.
You're right. You're right. That's classic me being a boxing fan, accepting these dreadful decisions and thinking these aren't quite as bad, so it's okay.
Yeah, you're right. They've got us trained now. Like it's like, well, it wasn't. Have you seen one of the things on Twitter now? Is that hey, this was not a robbery.
Yeah, exactly.
Not a robbery. It was just like, he may have won, but it was not a robbery. What is a robbery? So, in other words, now we've separated. You got to really steal, like a guy shuts a guy out. You got to rob him and give it to the other guy. But if you just take a guy like 8-4 fight, give it to the other guy, that's not a robbery.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's boxing Stockholm syndrome.
But it is. Oh, that's a really good way. Good. The one other thing I wanted to add to that is that Turkey has also never shown this type of partiality. That's my only other.
That is true. That is true. Which again, maybe it's a bluff. And also, like I say, AJ's been very quiet. AJ's waiting in the wings. I think on Monday morning or first week of January, they start promoting Fury saves face on Saturday. They start promoting AJ v Fury, the Battle of Britain, and that's the biggest fight they can make. And it's a Wembley Stadium, and it's 150 million for each, and everyone's happy. But okay, so I'm going to wrap up, and then you're going to wrap up.
Okay.
So I am going to say for weeks now.
I'm not wrapping up. I have too much more to say. I'm just kidding. Go ahead. What are you going to say? We're good.
I'm going to say that what I think about this fight is I am concerned with all the potential with the officials. I'm concerned with Fury's ability. He's obviously a good fighter. But I genuinely, and I know this is going to be laughed at, but I genuinely think it's an 80-20 fight. I would need 4-1 or 5-1 to back Fury. Okay. Right. Therefore, I am backing Usyk at around, what is he, minus 140, whatever he is. And
right now,
I think that's wrong. I think that's too generous. I've had a decent sized bet on him. I'm now betting more on him because his price is getting even better. And I'm starting to worry. And I'm worrying because of fight week and the media. And I suddenly thought today, I knew I was speaking to you, and I suddenly thought, you think it's an 80-20 fight. Stop worrying. Relax. Usyk's going to win comfortably. And that's my final thing on it. I don't know how he's going to win. He's going to win by stoppage or retirement or a comfortable decision. And that is my final take. I'm like, forget everything that you're worried about. It's an 80-20 fight. Usyk's going to win comfortably.
Okay. I'm going to echo your exact sentiments. I feel that also. I think that it's a 80-20 fight also. If I was going to say honestly, I don't see without controversy, without politics, corruption, whatever you want to call it. Without that, I don't see Fury having the capability to outbox Usyk. He couldn't the last time. And you know how fighters can always pull maybe one more good fight out of their pocket? I think that's the best Fury can do. So I can't see him winning legitimately boxing, and I can't see him winning legitimately going toe-to-toe either.
Yeah.
He doesn't have the chin for it. And
the power.
And he doesn't have the punch for it.
Yeah.
And Usyk, if he's not the hardest puncher in the world, he doesn't have to be Wilder. He's the smartest puncher.
Yeah.
You know, he's one of the smartest punchers. So I can't see Fury beating him boxing or punching or toe-to-toe. Fury could do all the Kronk style he wants. I'm with you on this. I have not changed my mind at all. Fury's doing his act. It's entertaining. He's getting as many people as part of his job. I'm with Alexander Usyk right down the line.
Okay.
I think it's 80-22. I think Alexander Usyk is simply a much better fighter. That's my opinion.
Brilliant. Johnny, that's brilliant. Like, I wanted to do 20 minutes. We've done an hour. We could do another hour, but that's amazing. What we will do is we will enjoy we will bask in the glow on Sunday. But if, God forbid, we're completely wrong, I'm going to call you up and we're going to do a debrief on Sunday about what went wrong. But I don't think it's going to be necessary.
Right, Anna, do you think it's okay for people to see us crying online?
I don't know. I think maybe what we'll just do is delete all the videos that we've done and just re-edit them.
That's a great idea. Like, and then maybe we could do a couple and make it look like we picked Fury.
I'm sure people do that. No, I think everyone knows our stance. We've
been pretty vocal this time.
All right, Johnny, brilliant. Loved that. Really good. And I also loved the little insights as well. Didn't know a lot of that stuff, so that was awesome. Brilliant.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much. And I got my fingers crossed because I also would like to see Usyk win. I think he's been disrespected. So let's hope.
Brilliant. All right, Johnny, I'm going to wrap it up now and we're going to get this posted. So thanks a lot, man. Talk to you soon.
Okay, my friend. You got it.
Good luck tomorrow.
You too. Bye-bye.
Cheers, man.
You too.
Bye-bye.